built a church from 6 people in Seacon, Massachusetts, to the largest non-denominational church in the region.
Wow.
All righty. Good morning. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We are here for our weekly board meeting, July 7th. At this time, I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda and the minutes, and there are no liquor licenses, correct, Jackie?
We have none?
I'd make a motion to approve the agenda and minutes.
And I second it.
We've got a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on that? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any visitors? You guys? You want to just take off unless you got some?
I had a bad week last week. I didn't have any meetings.
There you go. I had a couple, but nothing really outstanding to report on. So,
And same here.
what do you got, guys?
We have a little vacation.
We have Victor Smith and Joe Cheney from the Farmers Market on the courthouse lawn. I think our intent today was to move forward with all the formalities.
Yep. I attended last week here with them, and we've had some great discussions out here on the lawn. Nobody sweat or anything through it, so, you know. We all walked away without problems, so. Yeah, I will say this, they have very good signage at both entrances on their, out here, which I think is great. I believe the people of the community has to respect what we have to do, and now that we've got that behind us and stuff, I think we should move on, and they've had their problems like we've had ours, so, and I think they've resolved a lot of theirs, so if you care to speak about anything, go right ahead. If
No, we're moving ahead. We're actually should have 3 to 5 new vendors coming in.
Oh, good.
We're going to grow it. Because we're involved in so many markets, we know a lot of other vendors that may, you got to test the waters.
Yeah.
This is a little out of the way for some of them, but some of them are willing to come back over here.
Right.
A couple of new this year that have been involved in the past.
Good.
And some absolutely new ones. We've had talks with Buddy from the Thompson from the Extension Office about next year already. They were already in talks about possibly taking it over anyway, just to manage it. We're still trying to keep the bridges from being totally burned down with some of the committee members from the Betterment Committee, which we didn't know existed, and not so much with the chamber, but with them. Because we need partners in this realm.
Strength in numbers.
Yeah, it just helps.
Yep.
We'll consider the Board of Supervisors a partner.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Yes.
So we need the go-betweens because we're busy. This is what they like to do. It's a different life. First time I've ever been in a meeting like this, which is not that big a deal. But
Well, you don't have to be invited,
well,
You
can
come
just
every
try.
week,
My
especially
wife and I met with you a couple
Yes.
of years ago
Oh,
to
yeah.
get it started down.
I have no issues with what you guys do for the most part. So.
Good. Well, what do you think, guys?
So how about the trash barrels?
We'll bring a trash can, be here and gone every night.
Okay.
Parking will be like we've done in the past. If we can unload here, he and I use this lot a lot to unload because we're closer to it. 2 or 3 other vendors possibly. Most of them will unload from the north side,
Okay.
or off the west. When the corn comes in, I suppose those guys, it's still okay to them to park on the street. They're on the north side. If somebody else wants to come in and sell corn, can I take another spot?
Yep.
Because I'm not playing favorites for everything.
Oh, yeah.
We are going to limit numbers of types of people. We've already had a request from a vendor that did exactly what one other vendor does already, and there's just not room for another person like that. So we're just going to balance it. It's funny is we had 6 bakers in this market last year. If you walked Exarban with 125 vendors, you might find 8. So, yeah. So we're gonna balance it as much as possible.
That's
Yeah,
your
but
call.
we love bakers.
Yeah, but it dilutes the numbers for the people that spend their hard time doing it, and you're getting kind of the same thing everywhere you go.
Yeah.
Produce is, I mean, you know, it's, some guys got this, some guys got that. It changes weekly. So there'll be a few produce people.
So are you letting people in with crafts and
Yes.
okay.
Yes. We're not real high on the commercial things. It depends on what it is.
Okay.
If you go to Exarban, you'll see some commercial vendors and a few other markets, but if it's a multi-level type thing, I don't think, Jody's making those decisions, not me. We're gonna kind of form a little group that help make these decisions. And she's been doing this 10 years. She's got plenty of experience. Joe's been doing it a long time.
Right.
And
Jody, last name?
Jody Smith.
Smith.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
She's related to this.
She's my secretary,
Gotcha.
not the boss. So,
Well, who you guys let in really is
It's up
not
to
really our
us.
decision. It's
yeah,
none of our
I know.
business.
I'm just
so
kind of telling you how it's
yeah,
gonna go.
Yeah, it's
good.
interesting to know how they,
Good.
We
you
do
doing it.
want to grow it,
It is.
obviously. Bellevue is a wonderfully run market by Carol Blood, who's a state senator over there, and she does an awesome job, and she built that from a few vendors to a really nice little market over there. So
And where do they have theirs?
it's in Washington Park, which is just north of Mission Avenue in the
Oh,
old
yeah.
downtown area. Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. She works hard at it and does a good
Old
job.
Town Bellevue.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
I'd make a motion for the,
Could I just a couple comments? So from a public health perspective, we are strong supporters of the farmer's market. We think fresh fruits and vegetables and everything that happens is wonderful. In this COVID-19 world, we have gotten instruction from the Iowa Department of Public Health and the Department of Agriculture that when farmers markets do reopen, that we just have some safe practices in place. When I went to the market on Tuesday, as Richard said, y'all have great signage as you walk in on either side. The vendors, we are requesting or that if you are handling food at any level that you're wearing a mask and that we have just those good protocols in place. I noticed some of the vendors even had like a belt around their little pod so that sort of enforced some distance so you couldn't get overly close, which was nice. We also have talked about the farmers market when they reopen to just have a plan.
And they have
And
one.
it doesn't have to be a complicated plan, but basically what we're telling the public is we're aware that we're operating in a COVID-19 world and we're taking some special precautions because we do want to mitigate the number of cases that we have. We want to control what we can. We want to reopen our county and our community and our businesses, but we want to do it in a responsible way. Mr. Smith, I know that you participate in other markets and you said that in Bellevue you have a plan for how their farmers market is run, and then I had discussed with you some sample plans which are very basic, but did you formalize? And I guess just taking a split second, can you share with us just the key points of your plan in relations to COVID-19?
So basically the same we do at every market. The vendors are going to be spread out 6 feet or more. We're going to try to back off the sidewalks as much as possible so that there's no crowding there. There's a lot of room to spread out when new vendors come in. Everybody's required to have a wash or hand sanitizer, wear a mask, and we discourage customers from touching our product. That's always fun with children because they like to touch things.
Right.
I might
Right.
slap
That's
one and
I noticed most of the
Zarbin.
parents have been pretty good at keeping their kids. They're
Yeah,
aware of it too.
yeah.
And
Well,
the only time that they handle something, I tell our customers that if you're gonna, you're gonna buy it, go ahead and pick it up.
Right.
And I'll put it in the bag for you. But I don't want somebody going through the cucumbers and saying, oh, this is not the one I want. And that's what you try to avoid.
Right.
If it's there, you're gonna touch it and take it. It's just like in the grocery store. Anything else, if you're gonna buy it, pick it up, I'll put it in the sack, and you own it.
One produce vendor yet Sunday had a sign that says, "I shopping only."
Oh, nice. That's really good.
I said, that got me in trouble a few times.
We had talked about, because you're going down the sidewalk on this side, and I don't know if it's feasible or not, but as public health, I'm always just shooting out these ideas. Is there any way that you can have a one-way traffic flow?
I
Is that
don't
not?
see how it'd be possible because people are coming from 3 directions.
And the other thing, Julie, is that if somebody comes in the north side, the first vendor they see, if they feel they can't go back to that vendor without walking clear around the block, they're just, then they're gonna buy as they go down the other, and it's the same way as somebody coming in from the south. If they know they can't go the other way, then they're gonna be compelled to buy the first thing they see and not see if anybody else has something else that's better. That's one-way traffic would not work real well because like I said, they'd have to go way out around circles.
I got a comment too.
Speak,
What-
everyone else says.
One of the things is, I noticed you guys are really good about the parking and unloading thing, but we do have a fire lane there, and not only as risk manager of the county, I've got to keep that lane open, so if you guys would police that like you have been, make sure people don't loiter there.
And I was.
And then parking there, getting up to 4:30, there is a few spots for them, of course, a lot of employees leave. But I do have staff coming in on and off shift in the comm center, so there will be some traffic flow there. So if we can help police that, whoever's moving out of it, I appreciate it. That way we don't have conflict. I know we've had issues early on in the past, years ago, that people just left their vehicles there, and then it created a problem. So if you help me do that, then, that's the only minor issue of the whole darn thing that may come up because if something happened, we had an emergency or whatever, then we wouldn't be able to get emergency vehicles in.
I was guilty of that Wednesday night, and last year I was very good about it. We set things out of the pickup, I get in the pickup and move it. Last Wednesday night, I was actually helping my wife a little bit too long and left the pickup, and I think Richard mentioned it, something to me, and I said, got in the pickup and got it out of there.
Yeah,
So-
we'll
We
stress
do,
that to the
I'm very conscious, I'm right there in the corner. I'm
3 or
always-
4 people in
Get
park.
it unloaded and get it out of there. And I've always done it, but last Wednesday night I didn't do it. And of course, Richard caught me.
Richard, were you the Mr. Patrol man?
Yeah, he was good, He said, if
Okay.
that's your pickup, you need to move it. And I said, oh, got the pickup, moved it. So it was fine.
We
but it
encourage the
just-
vendors to park away so
Customers.
customers can park
Exactly.
up close.
Exactly.
Last year, every night that I unloaded here, I parked on the other side of the bank. I don't think anybody else went that far. I think they kind of parked over here, but, yeah, we try to lead the customers to nearer spots if we can, so.
Well, the community will be happy.
Yeah.
They want this.
And we need it.
And they don't want it down,
105 degrees.
yeah, they don't want it down on an asphalt parking lot because
It's a little warm.
it is. We have canopies, but the people coming to shop don't. And they're standing out there in 95-degree temperatures on asphalt, and they just weren't coming that week before we moved up here. So.
And we're all for helping the businesses, people, and we gotta all work together. So
Yeah,
this is
so
where
he
we
gets some pizza sales. It's always nice to go over there and get a little cider.
Right.
I wish he would open up his dining a little more, but
Yeah.
it's their decision.
Yeah.
And I don't know if food trucks still banned? Are they
I
allowed?
don't
No,
know.
They've never been banned.
never been
I'm aware
banned,
of.
so maybe he'll start doing that. I don't know.
Yeah.
They always seem to be.
But I'm
a
sure
good
once
thing.
the crowd really starts growing,
Try to get life back to normal.
exactly. I hear you. Right, you too?
We'll let the
What's
record,
normal?
we'll let the record show that they have submitted a plan for social distancing and signage and hand sanitizer and everything else that they've submitted to us, so. get your ducks in a row. Thank you.
Well, I'll make a motion that we allow the
He was the one.
farmer's market to
Thank
be
you.
present on the county courtyard, and very glad you're back. Appreciate it. Been a battle. Won a few, lost a few. However you put that
We're in a
in there,
good,
it's fine.
we're in a good place now.
Absolutely.
We definitely are taking it ourselves and trying to partner with people, so we're good.
Yeah, he'll be good.
I will second
And
that
I-
motion. Is there any
Excuse me.
discussion?
I was gonna second it, but that's all right.
I was gonna
I
say,
realize I had to wait for you. I'm sorry.
you two just take turns of making a motion and a second.
No. No, we can all three make a motion. We can all three make a second.
I just want,
No,
Pretty complicated.
yeah.
yeah, if you make it
Thank you for
complicated.
the.
More than a rocket scientist to sit on
Right.
the side.
Is there any discussion?
Farmer, whatever.
Land surveyor, engineer. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Thank you, guys.
All right,
Welcome.
Absolutely.
calling you.
Do that. That'd be great.
All right.
Good to see you.
See you later.
Good to see you, Joe.
Come see us at the market.
Yes, absolutely.
Tell your boss to introduce herself. We don't know who she is. She says she buys from us.
Thanks for all the hard work.
Okay.
Did you get that lady's name? Maybe.
What's she doing?
Get that lady, I didn't know who the person was sitting in the chair.
Oh, her name.
Lori escorted her in.
She's on the south side, but she was on the phone, but she must have been mixed up. She couldn't come in the south, she had to come in the north.
Oh,
Okay, at this time we have Julie Lyons, Lori Griner, Mr. Hurst, and the county attorney's office here. Cool. For an update on COVID-19.
Do we want to talk about reopening or just?
No, that's next one.
That's
after
next.
that.
Okay, COVID-19. So as you know, we've been working with the local farmers market. We also have been working with the fair board. We've got the fair coming up. They also have a plan in place. We are hopeful that that plan is put into place and that those safe practices are maintained. Our fair is doing some things that are unusual in this COVID-19 world. So those extra precautions, particularly at the mass feeding events, will be important for, and they've got a plan and their plan is good. So we would like to have assurances that when food is served, that people who are serving food are wearing masks and gloves and taking all the appropriate precautions. We believe that at any big event where crowds gather, the Fair Board has a plan that they will be putting announcements on regarding all the safe practices. They also plan to have signage at the front, so we wish them well. In regards to cases, we currently have 36 cases. We have more on the irons for today, and so we'll probably be offering another press release to just keep the public advised of where we're at. We continue to partner very closely with the Glenwood School District and on some levels to East Mills about reopening, particularly as part of their health and safety plan, what practices they'll have in place. The school's got a very complex situation going on, and I think reopening is very difficult, and trying to manage all the strong opinions and put the best safe practices in place that are reasonable to do with young children and you know what the staff and administration expect. It's hard to merge all those things together in one plan that's practical and best practice. So Lori and I both continue to meet with them, and we have a meeting today.
most schools sound like they are heading for Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. And, you know, there's a lot of pros and cons on that one, but
I think that they
Glenwood's
are,
not though, are they? Glenwood's going full-time.
I think Glenwood's
Is that
gonna
what they're
try to
gonna
go, well, and I
Yeah.
think that
We have several.
a lot of
Yes,
schools
yeah.
are sort of having this layered approach of they're gonna try to reopen brick and mortar pretty standard and then have accommodations for what they would do if there were concerns, how they could mitigate those. They might use that Wednesday midday, but anyway, they just too much to go into. But they have a complex scenario and many plans in place, and we hope for the best when school reopens here soon.
I listened to part of them this morning. They had almost 8 minutes of full coverage of all the Omaha, Bellevue school systems. Some of the complaints that parents come up with was, I mean, it is just off the wall. You know, you can't cover my child's face up. That's not right. My child should have the right to see the person across from him. And next one comes in and says, I don't want my child any place close to anybody else. Well, if you're going to go to school, you put them in a bubble over here. I mean,
You have to move on. Time to live.
it's just like down here, you know, they want to put 30 kids in a classroom, which is normal, but you can only put 14 on a bus. I'm going, I don't know,
Our school district could not be any greater to work with. I think they're taking all
There's
those
no right answer
considerations.
for anything.
No.
There's no perfect way to
No.
do it. You just
No.
have to move on and
You do,
you gotta live. We can't live in a bubble the rest of our
you
lives.
do. So,
We're just hoping that whatever they decide, everybody works together on it.
yeah.
I mean, that's what it's gotta take. Yeah, it's scary.
The, we've been talking about plans, because everything seems to revolve around a plan, but plans are plans if they're executed, and, the tractor pull Friday night didn't go so well as far as the plan, because it was advocated they didn't say recommended, that they were going to require social distancing, bring your lawn chairs, and the stands were packed. And a third-party comment was made that, well, the governor's released all this, and we're gonna do what we wanna do. And there's been 2 events at Lakin Center, one over 400, a wedding, which one it was probably, and that far exceeded any kind of a plan of trying to, at least common sense, do the best you can to provide some level of protection. So I don't know what, and I totally agree. We're trying to striving to get back to some level of normalcy, and defining normalcy right now is tough because the schools are struggling with it, the community is struggling with it, the businesses are struggling with it, we're all struggling with it, and this a good example is last Friday, the mayor of Muscatine, Iowa, passed a resolution that at 6 a.m. yesterday, they're requiring everyone in the city of Muscatine to start wearing masks the next 6 months, mandatory, and there are fines under state law and local ordinances applicable if they violate it, and everyone 3 years old and up. And they do have some criteria where you may take it off, like walking, jogging, riding a bike, if you're eating food, something like that. But other than that, inside, outside, masks are mandatory. And
Because their numbers are going up.
they're
so-
getting seen a spike again.
Really?
And and that's over in eastern Iowa, way on the river over there.
Sure.
So those things, it surprised me when I saw that. I did not expect to see a community going to those extreme measures, but apparently they said we've got to get a hold of this enough to at least grab it and mitigate it to the point that we can control our own destiny in our community. So I hope we don't see that here. I hope we don't have you as elected officials and the city councils having to look at other measures as recommended by the state, or they have to make decisions themselves. How do we protect ourselves and our people that we serve? So I don't think we're out of the shadows yet, but I think we're doing good. We're doing good here, and I think the fall will hopefully give us new indicators on how well we'll get through the school year and how well these businesses, as they're trying to reconstitute their operations through some moderate protective measures,
Right.
and then beat this thing. I don't think we're ever going to beat it, but I think we're going to have to learn how to live with it And then hopefully the government and the scientists will come up with measures through vaccines and other strategies that we can manage this. And then it's just similar to influenza or some sort of a bird flu that comes and goes, and hits us, or West Nile, in other words, or something like that. We just got to learn how to get the upper hand here, and so that we can live with it. And so, I don't know.
Julie, what's the nursing home situation and
Our long-term cares,
Are still doing fine.
they are doing great.
can they go out for a drive? Can you take them?
They are still in phase 1, working toward phase 2, I believe.
Yeah, they went back to phase 1, Glenhaven. We use Glenhaven example. They were in phase 2, started a little bit of visitation type thing under situations,
Okay.
distancing. And then there was a couple issues that occurred, and not even to do with any positives or anything, but caused the administrator to go back to phase 1, which kind of caught us off guard, because I don't know whether it's not my decision. That was not my decision, but whether they needed to or not, I think there was a lot of factors that the administrator had to take into consideration.
Because I received word I can take Dad out for a drive as long as he stays in the car. So you can still go through Burger King or banking, or so they can kind of feel like they're getting a little bit of a life. So I was just wondering if this was just something.
And the state did modify their strategy a little bit for the long-term care
Okay.
and clarified some things. So now it gives them a little bit more guidance to, get moving forward. And that's what we hope they're able to do.
Boy, they've taken a blunt.
I know the resource center notified some parents and stuff that possibly that be the weekend of the 18th, 19th. You could go and get your child if you so desired.
Oh.
But the bad
Take 'em
part
home?
is when they go back, then they are gonna be quarantined for 14 days. A lot of parents are going,
You really want to do
it's not the place they wanna put their child, so. But
that. They have to protect the masses, the rest of the people.
Sure. Wow.
I think as a county, as far as our people, their elderly, and the long-term care or special care settings, I think Public Health's done an outstanding job of collaborating with them. Julie's staff has done a really superb job of keeping the information flow, ensuring they have the information, that they're getting it from the state and other agencies through their chain, and making sure that we're aware of their needs, and do what we can do to help them, whether it be resources or planning or whatever. So I think people need to realize, a lot of people don't realize that the time it takes to get these collaborations together to make sure you can attack something like this and beat it. So I'm not surprised, I guess, but I'm just very grateful that we just don't have the outbreak. Because if it started like it has in other regions in the state and the world, it's tough stopping it.
Yeah.
And then you got a special needs or elderly or population to deal with, and that means it's high risk.
Yeah.
And that's our families and friends. So you got to remember that.
Truly been.
What else you guys got?
That's it. Unless you have questions.
I don't.
Dang, good job.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Okay.
The next, you have something else?
No.
Next
Well-
item on, go ahead. No, the next item on the agenda is to approve the plan for the opening of the courthouse. You're not up yet.
do you know if any others departments were coming in?
Do you have the agenda? Is he on it?
What's that? Just opening the courthouse.
Yeah, that's our next plan. I thought you called Corey up.
No, I said good morning.
Oh, sorry, misunderstood you.
Okay.
The next item on the agenda is approving the plan for opening the courthouse.
I talked to the Assistant County Attorney this morning and the paralegal down there. Nada, I do not have hard copy because that has not been finalized yet, but the plan is very simple. We talked about last week conceptually. Your strategy as discussed last week was with the courts in collaboration with the departments in the county was to look at the July 13th, would be next week, to reopen the courthouse. Some of the criteria you did discuss was the possibility, everyone coming in for service you'd require them to wear face masks. And then the one thing we need to talk about is the employees. Most all the departments in the building here have a barrier between them and the customer. So I think the question would be, and some of the department heads, those bills are good, and some of the department heads hope they're listening, would we require the employees to be fully masked up 8 hours a day if they're behind plexiglass? If they venture out of the office, then they would be masked up like they are now. If they go to pick somebody up at the door, all the employees are masked when they pick people up and through servicing those employees. So I think that's one of the items that we need to discuss and what your thoughts are on how we want to handle that. There is and I'll let Julie and Lori jump into this along with Tyler and Jill's here and Corey. There is a counterpoint to this, is that the public's perception. They come in with a mask and we don't have a mask. So, but, I know, and then you get into the distancing piece, you get into the barrier piece. If we're behind a barrier or we're 6, 8, 10 feet away, if we're transiting from point A to point B, is it 8 hours a day, everyone's in a mask? So that's one of the things that I need guidance on, and risk and what we want to do there.
I think public health guidance is just really consistent. If you can maintain 6 feet distance, I think the mask comes into play when you're going to be in closer contact for more than 15 minutes. I think that the guards are good protection. I don't think anybody should ever be discouraged from wearing a mask. If
If someone wants to
anybody,
wear one, they can, let
absolutely,
them wear
we
it.
encourage
Yeah.
mask wearing. If you're even questioning whether or not you should wear one, put one on. We're a fan of masks. As far as required, it's that 6 foot distance, more than 15 minutes. So
So what do you think? Do we need to put a table like they do at Menards and
Well, I think the
put it in front of the counter so you know you're,
Well, I think the public is more susceptible to cross exposure as they come in and out, transit for services of the
Yeah.
county. So it would make sense that we put face mask requirement. So, and then probably at our doors coming in. And this would be all county facilities. That if you're coming in for service, we require you right now to wear a mask. And that's really protect you from us and also protect transitory customers coming in and out. Because you could, there is some talk, and I'm gonna throw this out here, probably get in trouble. There is some talk that this virus may not be droplets, it may be aerosol also, possibly. Now, that could be a fine myth, somebody coughing or whatever, but there is some discussion about, I think the facts aren't all in that this thing, there has been some suspicions that this may be in the air a little bit too. But again, that's just not proven yet unless
Right.
Julie's got something on it. But I read some here recently, actually in the last 24 hours, that there was some research being done or some indications of possibility. So we do have some signage that we acquired, different types. Some of it is informational that might go up in the bathrooms or in the entrance when you come in, basic stuff, and that we can make available to the departments. We do have some, hand sanitizer. We have some of the stations here. I have some on order, but they're back ordered. I'm trying to get them in because I was going to put them in some of the other departments that don't have them. But we do have some signage like this, and of course, this is some of the floor signage that's
Nice.
available. The big risk of this is that,
it's thick.
well, no, buffing. We have to tell our
Oh,
custodians
sure.
in this building, for example, that you gotta stay away from these, or you could grab an edge and buff it up. This is pretty durable. That's pretty durable stuff,
Oh, yeah.
and it's flexible. This one here is a little larger, and this might be something that we would put at the entrance.
That
Now,
looks
remember-
thinner. Is it
It
thinner?
is thinner than that, and we put it at the entrance, and I guess, placement is everything. There is another signage that, I don't know, I had it just here with you. It's the footprint thing right here, that red
Seen
footprint
those,
thing. You
yes.
could get a few of those. before next week and offered up the departments these little red footprints, and we could put a few footprints out from the different counters. You know, at least have the one there at the counter, or each counter. We'll use Jill, for example, one at each of your stations. And then we would take a footprint out where we could to go out at least one out for waiting. Because, you know, you get to your outer stations, for example, with you, Jill, you can go out in this main area here, maybe a couple footprints. The same thing, and that would service the auditor too, but you get back where Luann and you are, and those two, it gets a little tight, and you have to go to the east, basically, with footprints. In other words, they come this way, and as they come in. So there'll always be a corridor of the public having to come in, though, down between the recorder and treasurer, for example, using that department. Now you get down to the engineer, he has a straight shot in, and he can control that basically as they have now in their appointments. And then Darren's office there in the Economic Development Foundation office there, they have a kind of narrow entrance, but the traffic isn't as heavy there. And I think if you put some awareness signage up and at the entrance, then at least make people aware, you know, what you're expecting them when they come in for business. Most of them are doing it now because we're appointments. So that would be one thing we could do. Also, this particular vendor, I might still be able to get some more of this plexiglass stand stuff if different departments needed it. That's hard to find.
Every department we have though right now has the plexiglass.
I don't know if every department does. I know that up here in the courthouse it does.
Right.
But I don't know whether Holly has it down there at, I think she just has she stays the thing locked, and somebody has an appointment, they come in, she opens the door and she opens a little bit, service them. So I don't know if she has one. I can check with her. That might be
Corey,
one.
does Tim have plexiglass?
No, not yet.
So,
We requested from Carol, but we haven't received.
Yes,
it.
okay.
okay, because this is another place I'll check on and maybe get you one from here, this source, if we can get here before next week. So anyway, we did have, I did get a lot of this in, and so it just means getting with the various department heads and see what fits with them. And it all depends on how you want to go with this, like everyone coming in, face mask required, employees as required. And as required would be if they're outside the office, right? And
If someone shows up without a face mask, are we supposed to say, okay, you need to go back out and get one? Is that,
and see, that's gonna be an issue we've had before, because you know,
we have it right now?
I've had a few masks I put in various departments that I say, don't advertise it. But then when you go out to get them, they don't have it. Say, did you bring a face mask with you? And some of them may say, well, it's out in my car. We'll let them go get it.
That's what we do.
If not, on occasion, I know I've given some to Jill, for example, Luann, and some of the other departments, to take one out underneath your paperwork, takes the paperwork. That way, you don't want to not let them come in because they made the appointment, they made all the effort to get here. Now we're trying to open the courthouse with some restrictions, so we don't want to sit there and discourage them anymore. So you can carry one, but the thing is, they're at a premium, and it depends on how many we could use. We could use quite a few of those in a week's period of time. If we just handed them out, and of course, you can't just leave them laying out in a box, because then the boxes disappear. And so, so that's something we're gonna have to work out. I do have some that came in. I can't use the ones provided by the state of Iowa for essential services, but I did order some in of this type, and I have some N95s left, which are not, those are the ones we're supposed to retain, hold on to, that I could provide every department. And I just don't know how long the supply will, it depends, I'll have to keep ahead of it, and we can do that. So do whatever we can, you know, to make this transition as painless as possible. So that would be one thing.
You know,
we
there's
do.
just a gal in a uniform and she stands by the door at Menards and you know right away. I mean, they don't even now have to say anything, but as long as they know there's somebody watching you,
Now,
you
Page,
put it on.
now, interesting, I don't know whether Page County went through with this, but a week ago at their supervisor meeting, they were discussing reopening, and they had indicated, they had a couple plans that they had indicated that they were going to put a county employee at the entrance to take a quick temp, you know, and ask 3 or 4 questions. You know, have you been, you know, feeling ill? You know, the standard 3 questions or 4 questions or whatever. But then that gets into an issue. If they voluntarily give that information on a piece of paper is one thing, but when you're asking them questions, then does it get into HIPAA? That's the issue. So, that may
Who's
be.
paying for this employee? Are you pulling an
No, I'm
employee out
just
of an
saying,
office?
I don't know
or-
how Page County was planning on doing it.
Yeah.
It sounds like they were trying to try and pull somebody out of staff, and that's gonna be interesting.
Yeah,
So
very.
where are you getting that person from? So
They
I
said the
just picked up on it
supervisor
on
was
a
gonna
KMA.
monitor the door.
Pardon?
They said one of the supervisors was gonna monitor the door
Every day, 5 days a
every
week?
day.
8 hours?
You guys can just rotate.
Oh, that's,
I don't think so.
that's what they're
I mean,
planning
all
on.
these stickies.
Well, that sounds
But every place you go, they ask you those questions, especially when you go into the hospital. So how would that be a HIPAA?
Hospital is healthcare, is asking that question. The hospital's asking that question, the clinic's asking that question. That's a whole lot different than
Oh.
Larry, the MA guy, asking that question.
Oh,
Or supervisor standing at the door.
That's a great idea. He brought
I'm
it
glad,
up, I
I'm
didn't.
glad Richard volunteered himself for that.
Richard? That
I
was,
just said what they were doing. I didn't say
Right.
what we were gonna do.
Right.
That's interesting. I didn't know, I didn't get that part. I just knew they were having.
Now, that was the story going around. Now, how true it is,
I'll call Hersberg.
I think it would be good to prioritize.
ask
what's
if
most
these guys
important
monitor
to you.
business.
Right, right.
Those orange stickers that you have,
He
Larry,
probably tell you.
visual reminders, anywhere aligned with one to maintain 6 feet. It's just a good reminder, and it's a visual. And some
exactly.
of us still need that. It's good to, oh, I'm just gonna back up. I'll
And if
stand
you
on
need help
this.
with the face mask, Larry, I know your budget's always tight as the rest of us, but I'm sure the supervisors could help one way or
I
another.
have a vendor out in
Order a
West
case or
Coast that I've been
box or-
getting these from. He's been able to get
Yeah.
them from me, and I did had some more come in, and we can draw from that starting out, and then every department will just have to be. The big thing is that when they come in, and they don't have a mask or stand in front of you, then that'd be the time you'd have to give them a mask. We're
Yeah.
asking, hey, do you have your mask? And I
Some
think,
places make you pay $1. It's like, well, I don't think so.
well, we really should be doing that.
Something
Yeah,
that,
no, we're handling cash. I
came up
wanna do that.
Last, or maybe it was this week, I don't know, my week's run together, is a person who made an appointment coming in and basically saying that they have some type of breathing disorder that they're not allowed to wear, they're not supposed to wear masks. I work kind of with that department, and we just determined to serve them at their vehicle. But I don't know if that needs to be discussed if we're gonna require masks across the board, which I think makes sense.
So what would that
what's
be,
the
like a
policy?
COPD person that has hard time breathing?
Not everybody can wear a mask for medical reasons, and they should be excused and make an accommodation.
And so
Like what you did was
as simple
wonderful.
as just, having that person stay in the vehicle and going out to them, maybe that's an
Let's see
option.
how we manage that.
I know, that's
You can't.
what I'm.
You can't write that into anything. It's just something we're gonna have to take care of and try to work with the
And if
people the
they
best
come
we
in
can.
and say, listen, I can't wear a mask or respiratory, maybe that's, they're in and they're out, and we have to accept that risk.
Hmm.
Does that make sense?
The 6-foot distance.
Yeah, maintain your 6 foot.
And we just have to have better surveillance on them. If they're not wearing a mask because they start wandering around the courthouse, then we need to kind of say, sir, ma'am,
Yeah.
you're gonna have to, minimize your exposure in here without a mask.
I'm surprised they don't get a special tag or something saying, there's no way I can wear
Yeah,
a
but then you
mask.
get back into HIPAA issues.
Oh.
I don't wanna, if I have a breathing issue, I don't wanna be walking around with a t-shirt on that advertises that's my own business, not anybody else's. And that's kind of what we ran into, is you can't really ask them, okay, what's your diagnosis? It's none of our damn business, so you just kind of have to take people at their word and deal with it.
Deal with it.
All we can do is do our best.
Yeah.
And we are no longer doing the temperature and the screening when we open up to the public. It's just the mask is all we're going to.
Right.
Or basically what we would say in our press release and our plan is that we encourage you to not come if you're running into, in other words, all those tenants, all those stipulations, and we encourage them to possibly take their temperature, basically do a self-assessment themselves before they come in and use common sense basically to do it. I mean, you gotta have, I know we're human beings and levels of trust, that meter goes up and down all the time, right? And so, but I think we've got to make a point to put the responsibility on ourselves and our customers people we serve to do the right thing. And hopefully
Across the board.
there'll be a percentage of those that will not possibly do the right thing, but at least we did the best we could to communicate that, how important it is, especially in the world we're in right now at this stage. And that's, I think if we figure out a way to put that in words diplomatically to them to get that message across, then that'll go a long ways. We don't want to create a plan or a message for a press release that's 20 pages long. We want to be very, very specific, very clear, and so that people can understand and that they can do something with that.
It's time.
I do know that we talked last week, Jill had some appointments, like on Monday, but if we're gonna open the county, we need to open it. If we're doing it with the courts, and they're advocating the 13th as their next window, then we need to open on the 13th. And what I'm worried about is that, and I mentioned this last week to Jill, is that you're gonna have to call those people and cancel the 13th if the board is leaning towards approving this with the courts, because if they come in an appointment and somebody else comes in, is in line in front of them, there could be conflict right off the bat. You know, at times we've had conflict at some of our counters by disgruntled citizens that feel that they aren't getting the service they deserve, or why do they have to do this? And to the point, we've had to bring law enforcement in. And what I don't want to do is create a situation right off the bat, starting out in a reopening.
Well, that's why
create
we
conflict.
waited till the 13th. Jill, you weren't gonna make any appointments.
We still have appointments on the 13th. We canceled the ones on the 20th and
Oh,
the
okay.
17th and the 15th, but we still, and mostly the ones on the 13th are the older people. They just don't want to be around a crowd of people.
They're gonna be on Monday if the board approves this, they're gonna be around a crowd of people. And be ready, you're gonna have potential for conflict. So your staff's gonna have to manage that if you keep those appointments, because otherwise, other people come up to the counter, if they open it, it's all county departments. I advocate we can't do any other way other than that.
We have to be consistent.
Did I miss the discussion that Page County is not opening their restrooms?
Oh, sorry, bring that up. Yeah, that was the other thing. They weren't opening their restrooms, but they said they could lock those. One of the board members that was at the department head says, okay, how are we gonna use it? So they said, well, we'll have to get keys. We can't lock ours. So I do know that.
Isn't it a public thing? You've gotta have a restroom,
It
right,
is.
Tyler?
I think it means we're gonna have to, the auditor's going to have to work with Mike, and he may have to put more hours in it. In other words, he's gonna
He
have
might
to.
be mowing at nights or on a weekend.
He may have to during the day. I know sometimes he's here early in the morning, and then he leaves at noon, or maybe 2, depends what he's doing. But I think during the working hours, there's gonna have to be somebody here to keep an eye on our restrooms and periodically go in and sanitize, spray, cleaner, something to sterilize it somewhat, if we're gonna do that.
Doors, handles.
So that's something I haven't talked to Carol about, but I think it's gonna have to be addressed.
Yeah.
And it's the only way I think we can keep them open for not only our people.
We need to
but
keep them open.
public. Well, we'd have to barricade them.
Yeah.
And then what are our people gonna do?
Right.
Get porta potties on this thing.
No, don't go there.
Oh, Larry,
They will be-
Right, again,
they will be
yeah.
cleaning these
Need any
before.
bottled water?
So if
cold
we
weather's
can,
not bad, hot weather.
so that's-
Right.
Larry, to piggyback on that, the water fountains, going to just about any other public place, the water fountains are closed down.
You know, it's interesting, I did read on one place though, in fact, it may have been Page County, that they were gonna have to just clean the water fountains more often. I'm going, why are we doing that? I think we ought to take water fountains off. If anybody has one in their building, we request that they just
If
basically
you
take
think
them
about
off.
water fountains, it's just really close mouth
Oh,
contact. And
that
so
would definitely be a
It'd
no-no.
just be a good practice not to have those open right now.
Exactly. Yeah, I really don't see a lot of people using that, but
They don't
You know what
use them
would
that
be
much.
cool is the water fountains that fill bottles.
So those are awesome.
Shameless plug.
and we did talk about that. Yeah.
Found the vendor for you. You don't wanna see the price tag on them.
Oh,
So what do you
okay.
think, guys? You wanna open the courthouse June 3rd or July 13th?
Absolutely. Is that motion? So I make a motion to approve opening the courthouse on July 13th.
Second.
We've got a motion and a second to open the courthouse on July 13th. Larry, you say you'll get us a plan on this so everyone can have it posted. I mean, I understand your signs. I think they're needed. I agree.
Yeah, I like the
We'll
sign.
figure out where they're best suited, at the various departments. I have to get to the various departments this week and talk to them about a strategy, what they
Sure.
wanna do. Some of the parts may just be, it may be face mask required. It may be, maybe something at the entrance, just because of the smallness of the area. Like the courthouse is probably gonna be the biggest venue, probably, that we'll have to kind of walk around and figure out what's the best way in the open areas, common areas of the courthouse coming in. And I guess do the best you can. I'll talk to Kim upstairs. They have taped off a lot of their places, and I think they ordered some stuff, but I haven't been up there to look around too much, so. It'd be a traffic flow to them versus, and I think the county attorney's office has something going on with the traffic flow when the courts start playing again. They have a plan up there with them, with the clerk, with the courts.
Okay.
So,
I think it's gonna be frustrating for some. We're gonna stumble along with the public, but ultimately we need to provide services and we're just gonna have to work together doing it. I don't know of any other way to move on.
so basically the employees mask as required.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
All right.
I think the people will be glad to hear it. Yeah. I like the signage, Larry. Those are nice.
That was by some individual, I won't name, elected official. I told another individual to get on my butt and sit down and order signage, so I did it. I won't say which elected official it was.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, you guys.
I'm still waiting to hear back today.
Go ahead, Corey.
Here, Patrick.
So,
That's for
if I hear
tomorrow.
back, I'll bring it. If not, then if I hear back, I'll
That work?
bring it. If not, then yeah, if you want to. Larry, you heard from Terry Brown?
I'm gonna call him, in fact, we're calling him about another topic, so I'll call him.
Can you bring up, I left the window bid on my desk?
Good morning.
Hey, Corey.
Jumping right into my agenda items, we do have one utility permit. It's for the city of Malvern, and it's for their new water and sewer force main. It comes out of town at Lambert Avenue. It's about a mile east to their new pump station. They are turning in their application after the fact. We had some calls from the public about some trenching issues and their contractor not leaving it in the best or as in good a shape as what they found. So, but they've been responsive and we're working with their contract, or they're having their contractor make corrections.
Now, don't they have to pay a fee before they do that?
They're supposed to.
Okay.
But yes, we've received everything.
I remember Kevin got that going.
Well, they turned in last November. They turned in initial permit and a driveway permit for their new pump station. But their utility permit didn't have any information on it. Didn't have a set of plans. Didn't have contact information, contractor information, certificate of insurance, or the permit fees with it. So we never approved it. In our correspondence with the driveway permit, we said, hey, when you find out the contractor for the utility permit, let us know and send in the rest of the information. They never did. So just kind of fell through the cracks. But it'll be fine. They're getting their contractor back on it, and we're getting taken care of.
Okay.
Formal action. Discuss formal action. Approve agreement with Ames Construction for the Conveyor Belt Roadway crossing. Last week, Ames came in and I had a couple of requests for our proposed agreement for their conveyor belt crossings on Bungie Avenue and Applewood, and a couple small minor changes that Tyler's already made changes to, and then really the last thing that needed to be discussed and agreed upon this board is the surcharge fee. You want to hold Ames to. They did request a 5 cent a yard surcharge fee, 30 cents lower than what the permit requires for the conditional use permit. They are trucking a lot of the material, or they're trucking 90% of the material. They are not trucking the material once the conveyor belt gets up, but we all know that there will still be heavy equipment on those roadways, maintenance, bringing in heavy equipment. If they ever have conveyor belt breaks down. So this is kind of in your guys' court, what you guys choose to do. I understand if you guys do give them 5-10 cents off. I think 30 cents was a little excessive, but this is your guys' decision.
As I read this, or I look at it, it's called an extraction fee.
It is, yeah, correct.
It really says nothing about how it's gonna be moved, correct?
You're right on that.
So, my thought is,
That's our fee.
35 cents is 30, they knew this when they're coming in here. They knew what our fees are. I don't read anybody's checked to see if Pot County's getting a dump fee or not, but the way theirs reads is 17 load, 17 dump. So, I mean, Pot County could get 17 cents a cubic yard for just dumping it on Pot County ground. And I don't think they're gonna bypass that. That's my thought, but, why do we have rules and regulations? I mean, every time we get somebody says, well, just go to the county will reduce this, the county will reduce that, they'll let us do this, they'll let us do that, they won't make us do it by the law, rules and regulations. Well, why did we take the time to write stuff?
And I'm afraid if we let this pass, we've opened a can of worms.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm pretty stout on
Well,
keeping it.
you got a big dirt hauler right down the road here.
Exactly.
He's gonna come in and say, well, you
I've
did it
heard
for Ames,
this.
why don't you do it for me?
Are we wrong, Tyler?
I do like the fact that they're staying off the road with the belt. I'll be honest. I
do too.
love the decrease
Right.
in traffic. So I mean, throwing that out there, I really, and if it encourages more people to set up a conveyor belt and keep their trucks off the road, I'm all
But then
for
they
that,
have- Then
but
they understand.
Mhm.
It's still an extraction fee.
and hey,
And
it's my department that gets the money, so
That's right.
I'm all for it.
So at 35 cents, we'd bring in what, 2.5 million?
2.5 million. Isn't that what we figured
No,
last week?
it was
That was one.
it was 1 point.
Or 1.75.
No, that was when they took the 5 cents off of that. And that was gonna be 1.75 million taken away.
It was.
I don't remember what they're.
I think it was 8 million yards times 35.
Total was a little over 2.5 million, I think.
I wish I would have kept.
I don't remember what but, I mean, I wouldn't really consider that. I would just, basically the determination in my mind is, since they're not trucking it, are you willing to consider a discount or not? If not, then yeah, you're right, it's.
Okay,
it's
then
an extraction
I'll
fee.
ask you this, do we have the right that, say Corey gets a big contract with, Google? He comes in and he says, can you give me a nickel off? Even though I'm trucking it, can you give me a nickel off of my extraction fee?
No, and I guess that's where I think the only reason that you would consider reducing it is specifically because a majority of it's gonna be conveyed. If it's not, I mean, short of that,
And Ames did pay for the amount they're trucking. They're planning to truck through August, so, which is nice. I think.
but again, I mean, in the ordinance, the fee is for removing dirt from the county. Or
Yeah.
from a property.
Extraction
So
fee.
The only
I
discussion.
see both arguments. It makes zero difference to me. I just need to know whether I need to amend the contract.
The only thing in the ordinance was 35 cents was determined by,
The resolution,
yeah, which took into account what an average yard of hauled material would do in damage to the roadway, which Kevin showed me one time, and it was a pretty in-depth determination how he came up to that value.
We charge them for the surcharge, but we also say you're gonna fix any road damage that's there, and you take pictures. Is that,
No,
can
so
that be
the-
considered double dipping, or is
The
that?
amendment now says anything above regular wear and tear, so, for what they would pay, so again.
Plus the 35 cents.
Correct.
Okay.
So the 35 cents is gonna cover.
That's just
regular
one thing
wear
I
and tear, and then
I didn't know if we need to clarify that and say, this
It
is,
is.
this
It
is
is
above
clear.
and beyond? Okay,
It's clarified
Okay.
now.
okay.
To the point where basically the discussion we had last week is, if they're cutting a corner and destroy that
Sure.
corner ditch or
Take out a
something,
stop
that's
sign.
gonna be different. Yeah, hitting the
Right.
sign, whatever
Right.
it is, yeah.
But Corey, did you say already some of the shoulders are just getting tormented?
We're having shoulder problems north of Ames where the Army Corps of Engineers is running currently, or they were running.
And they don't have to pay us.
Yeah. And but otherwise, I haven't actually been out to Alice Road,
Okay.
south of Bungie Avenue to see how it is.
So, yeah, I mean, I think your determination is if you want to set a precedent and try to encourage people to consider using a conveyor over trucks, then you do consider a discount, and if you want to keep it the same across the board and try and stave off every person that's hauling a yard of dirt to come in asking for a discount, then you keep it the same.
If they're gonna run a auger system like this, then so be it. But
Right. Yep.
not many are gonna come and do that.
No.
Not many are gonna have
This is
3 million.
Well, not many have the option of doing what they're doing,
Exactly. We're
Uh,
usually borrowing it from
This is
Mineola
not-
and trucking it to
It has to be,
someone else.
clay soil or something like that. Well, I can just see that going over the tops of the
The bluffs?
bus out there.
I saw, and I about made my family stop with me. I was in Colorado this weekend, and sure enough, we drove on a road just west of Fort Collins that had a conveyor belt going over top of it.
Over the mountain.
And, no, we were just outside the foothills, so we were pretty flat land. But I almost made everybody stop and let me take some pictures, but I'm like, that's the first
And
time I've seen it.
where
in
was
person.
it going?
It was a little sand pit and going over to like a stockpile area. It really just looked like they didn't have any room in the sand pit area anymore for stockpiling. So
Wow.
it was a short quarter mile, if that.
Did you see
conveyor
any
belt.
signs? Did you think it's the same company?
Didn't see any signs. It didn't look like as nice a company as what we're dealing with.
Uh-huh.
It looked.
So what do you think?
Well, I make a motion to leave it as 35 cents for the Ames construction roadway crossing, and that would be classified as extraction fee.
And approve the agreement?
Correct.
Second?
We've got a motion and a second to approve the agreement with Ames Construction for the conveyor belt roadway crossing and maintaining the 35 cents per yard surcharge. Is there any other discussion?
What I would ask is that our secretary read that back so we have it like it's been presented, if you would, please.
I typed with Denton made the motion to leave the agreement at 35 cents for Ames construction extraction fee and approve the agreement.
Okay? I mean, that's what we're gonna have to go off of, so.
Yep.
Tyler, sound good?
I would just say surcharge instead of fee.
Extraction surcharge. That's
Extraction
exactly how it's
surcharge.
stated in the agreement.
But otherwise, that's fine.
Cause I'm quite certain we're gonna hear back, but
Probably.
I don't care, I
I
mean.
don't think so. I mean, I think
I don't think so.
they came into it willing to pay that. They've already got the project up and running, so I don't think you're
It
gonna
is
have any
not a little
issues.
company.
I
Yep.
imagine
I don't.
they're saving money in truck, even though there's a cost for
You got
constructing a
that right.
conveyor belt. They're saving a lot of
They
costs.
could
in
be paying
trucking.
trucking and fee.
So a lot of fuel and other
Yes.
employees that you have to pay to run, or subcontractors.
Yeah, there's no health insurance, there's no gas, there's no maintenance, there's no tires. Yeah.
You're
Okay, is there any
still
other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Corey. Where's the rest of it? What am I signing here?
I would, yeah. Okay, you've got that. I would, do we know who to fill in?
No, I can find out for them.
Okay, so we'll have to change that page.
If you need me to sign something else, just let me know.
Okay. And then we'll
I'll get Carol.
That's far.
have Carol, we'll
I
do
can
that.
sign her name too if you want me to.
Oh, she is, okay.
Yeah, all week.
Okay.
If they want it quicker, can we have a deputy sign it or
Yeah,
county attorney's office or?
Yeah, Lori can sign it.
Laura can sign it, yeah.
Okay.
So we
That's
just
right.
cross
We made her deputy.
All right,
All right, next item.
Western Engineering.
This is for the 221st Street. Thanks, Tyler, for your help.
Yep.
Thank you,
I'll
Tyler.
be back up later, hopefully with an answer on the closing services. The Windows contract I looked over, everything's fine with that.
Okay, good. Thank you, sir.
Yes, next action item, approved pay voucher 8 to Western Engineering for project SDBG swap Perrin 105, 221st Street, HMA resurfacing. The total amount is $71,393.57. This is, as each GM put it, they're handling the contract administration on it. This is their semi-final pay voucher. We had a little bit of earthwork to be completed on the culvert extensions and reseeding, and we're also paying out the rest of survey and HMA patches and the actual HMA paving, which wasn't completed just yet, as far as payments go. So this would probably looking at one more pay voucher then for Western, as we are wrapping up this project as far as paperwork.
Good deal.
I'll make a motion to make pay voucher, number 8, that's the easiest way of putting it.
And I second it.
Got a motion and a second to approve pay voucher number 8 to Western Engineering for the 221st Street overlay. Is there any other discussion?
Would you repeat the amount again?
$71,393.57.
Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
You're just below me. Thank you. Last action items. Approval of pay voucher 29 to United Contractors for project RFM CO 65 parent 94, 190th Street New Bridge, for the amount $150,144.30. Most of the payments, bridge rail was poured.
The whole rail up now? Good.
All the bridge rail, guardrail still needs to be placed. The rest of the payment was mainly bridge approaches and some reinforced concrete over top of the previously completed box culvert there to the south of the bridge. They've been doing a lot of modified sub-base placement for paving to get started at the end of this week, hopefully. And so, really moving along. Also seeding, mulching seeding. We got a lot of that seeded. Not all of it, but
good.
Really wanted to get something down. Had been trying to get it down for about 2 months. At least that better late than never. So, looking for approval.
Okay.
Payment, like the last one, previous one was a swap project, so we got STBG money. This one is coming out of the FM account.
Okay. I'll make a motion to approve the voucher 29 to United Contractors with a sum of $150,144.30. Is that Jackie?
Second?
Got a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Again, just below me. Thank you.
Sir. What else you have, Corey?
Don't have a whole lot for general discussion this week. I'm working on looking down farther in your guys' agenda, Iowa watershed approach agreements. We are also working on our Iowa watershed approach projects, trying to get our easements completed. Also working on getting the easements completed for the Trace Bridge coming up.
When you say easements, you're just talking.
We do have some permanent easement for the Iowa watershed projects, just because the structures are just a little bit longer. To qualify for a project, it had to be grade control, so there's a drop in the water flow line, a major drop. So just having one's going to be a box or a drop inlet, the other one's going to be a flume. So they're just a little bit longer structures than a normal bridge or a culvert.
Good. We didn't go for any more than just the 2.
They didn't have any more money, or that's all that we could.
That's a good thing. I mean,
expend.
We got our money spent. That was what we was worried about.
And the only reason we're getting the money is because they couldn't find enough landowners that wanted to do these projects, and so then they came to the county and said, "Do you have grade control structures?" And
oh yes,
we pointed out 4 right away, and so we picked a greenwood structure that, like I think I've said before, it wouldn't qualify for bridge funds, wouldn't qualify for FM funds being on local roads. So it'd be local money and trying to find $400,000 to replace a Greenwood structure is kind of hard to do.
Yay.
So I'm really loving this, getting 2 of these projects done with just a 10%
10%.
construction match. I mean,
That's unreal.
we don't have to pay for contract admin, we don't pay for design. It's been wonderful. So,
Fantastic.
I'll tell you what, it was tough finding enough farmers even to build terraces and things with the 10% cost share because, well, times aren't real good right now, and then the rules and regulations that, I mean, stuff that these farmers have got to go through. I'll be surprised if they all do it, you know, because it's just anytime you start messing with the government.
We're on a little rock now, trying to finish up some of the FEMA roadways that we did get obligated for the roads not completed. So now if we complete those, we just turn in all our materials, hours, and equipment to Iowa Homeland Security, and they'll get us reimbursed. Hopefully now that we've gone through a couple reimbursements, it's a little bit more fast-tracked. I haven't heard back from the city of Pacific Junction. Still trying to recoup our debris removal fees that we covered for the city of Pacific Junction.
Look how long that's been.
I'm just trying to find out where they're at in the process. Because I think it was about 2 months ago I'd sent them an email saying, hey, I just signed my P4 form, the certificate of completion or whatever that is, and have you signed yours? Where you at in the process? And just trying to see, because I signed it 2 months ago and then we got it about 2 weeks ago, so it takes 45 days at least to get that after we turn that in. Been kind of harping on Larry to get the FEMA, or not the FEMA, the flood recovery fund seal coat reimbursement sent in. So I'll just keep staying on his case until he.
His feet on that one, Corey?
I think he said trouble contacting Terry Brown for how to submit or what all the documentation needed. I'm not sure if I gave him enough. I kind of gave him everything that we turned in for our FEMA and ER projects. And so, but everybody
All I know
kind
is
of
you
wants
want to
something different.
overflow them with everything you got. Because if you're lax on one thing, it's back to square one. You can't pick it up at point G and go on.
Oh,
Then
you start all over.
I completed my draft for our appeal for the Yankee Bridge FEMA project. We got a determination memo on because of deferred maintenance. I sent the letter to the attorney's office and also to Iowa Homeland Security for just kind of a review before I turned it in. I think we have a very good case showing that the damage was caused by the flood, and I had a couple of different items of evidence, an email from the bridge inspector the day of the bridge inspection pointing out the flood damage, and I got a letter from the consulting firm that handles our bridge inspections. I provided more pictures, and so I feel good about our chances with the appeal, but we'll see. And so that's just kind of where we're at right now. We still, I'm still working with FEMA on not only that project, then 2 other projects, still trying to get obligated, so it's just been a marathon and keep on working through them, so.
Thank you.
That's all I got for today.
Thanks, Corey.
Enjoy your day, buddy.
Are you gonna drive up tomorrow, or are you gonna?
I'm driving up tonight.
Omaha?
To Ames.
Oh.
I'm still gonna go to the Iowa County Engineers Association's mid-year conference.
They're gonna have it, huh?
It's dual, virtual and in person. I'm going because I'm a presenter, and so I haven't decided yet how I'm going to handle that. I'm actually presenting with Austin H. with the DOT District 4, and we're kind of doing a dual presentation on the 2019 flood. And he was saying that he was just going to follow along virtually, then 30 minutes before we present, go in presentation. And so I was thinking that might be a better idea than sitting in the actual conference. And so
Surveyors Conference is still up in here.
Iowa County Engineers Association mid-year conference. So I think I'm gonna handle it that way.
ICEA.
Yeah, ICEA would probably be easier.
Thank you,
That's
sir.
good, Corey. Glad to hear that.
All right. See you guys later.
All right, kiddo.
Is Tony coming in, or are we just approving this, or?
10 o'clock.
He is coming in at 10?
Harold said
Okay.
Okay.
And I don't know what to tell you about the agreement with the landowners and stuff, because Kara Morgan was talking about calling it, so you see it yourself whether you wanna, jump forward to it, or if you
On
wanna.
this Carter and Evans things,
Right,
Richard?
yeah.
I was just gonna ask, what was that about?
That's the people that,
Two watershed projects.
watershed projects in Mills County.
Is that David Carter and
Give her a son.
who's the Evans?
David Carter and Rodney, let's see, Rodney, Sarah, or David Carter. R.W. Carter Incorporated. Not sure.
which one of these would be Golden Hills. Patrick came in and asked which one Golden Hills wants to.
That would be that one right there.
Yeah, that's a watershed, IWA.
Yeah.
Okay, because he said they're going to call in.
Oh, so then we
Okay.
need to wait around 10.
We'll have to wait on that one
All
too.
right. Oh, that's fine. Take a break.
Do you want to appoint a rural resident to the Emerson Library Board?
I gotta figure out where I laid that at. Oh, here it is. I came in the door at the wrong time last week. We all go ahead and do that one?
Sure.
Sure. Emerson Public Library would like for the Mills County Board of Supervisors to approve Bionica Honeyman as a non-resident member, rural citizen for the Emerson Library Board.
That'd be a good one. I make a motion to approve Bianca Honeyman to be a rural resident to the Emerson Library Board.
I'll second.
We've got a motion and a second to approve Bianca Honeyman to the Emerson Library Board. Is there any discussion? I didn't realize we appointed their board.
I've been on this 18 years and I've never appointed anybody from the
Right.
public yet,
That's
but
odd.
maybe they've always carried enough people.
Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Move on to a couple of resolutions.
I guess we already have. Okay. I'll give that back to you.
Okay, we're gonna move on to a couple of resolutions, or,
Might as well.
okay, we've got resolution 2024, budget appropriation. Carol made us a copy of this.
I think we don't have to read everybody's amount.
No.
Okay.
It'll be published. Resolution 2024 is the budget appropriation for 2021.
Yep.
We can change it again here in a few months.
Yeah, it's a correction from the original
Right.
appropriation of total expenditures, including transfers.
Cleans it up.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2024 budget appropriations.
I second it.
We've got a motion and a second to approve resolution 2024 budget appropriations. Jackie, now it's your time to shine.
Do the roll call.
Roll call vote?
Mayberry,
Yes.
Benton,
Yes?
Crouch.
Yes.
Motion carried 3-0. Is there copies of that? Is there
I've
something
got
I need
one.
to sign?
Yeah.
This one
Well,
just
we all
says
have to
copy.
sign 'em.
Yeah. Go ahead, buddy. Did you ever figure out what made this gritty?
I don't know, but I sure like it.
Yeah, I like it better than the other stuff.
I keep signing with, all I have is black ink. That make a difference.
It's just a preference thing.
I don't have any pens in red glove.
It'll still work. Okay, all caught up, Jackie? Okay. Resolution 2025, transfer of secondary roads funding.
So is this what Corey is waiting for, funding from FEMA and all this, and it's making?
No, this is his funding for next year that started July 1.
July 1, it's just giving him permission to move it out.
Oh, okay.
And it can't exceed the 180,665. That cannot be exceeded, you know. So
Will I make a motion to transfer the secondary road funding?
second.
2021.
We've got a motion and a second to approve resolution 2025, transfers of secondary roads funding. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, we will do a roll call vote.
Mayberry,
Yes.
Benton,
Yes.
Crouch.
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you, Jackie. Good to go? Next item on the agenda is Resolution 2026, and that is salaries for non-elected employees.
Do we have that resolution? Oh, I'm sorry.
But you can't have it.
Huh?
You can't have it. I'd make a motion to approve Resolution 2026, salaries for non-elected employees of Mills County.
I second it.
We've got a motion by Kraut, second by Vinton to approve Resolution 2026, stating the salaries for non-elected employees. Is there any discussion on that? Hearing none, all those in favor? Oh, sorry, roll call.
Mayberry,
Jackie? Yes.
Benton,
Yes.
Crouch.
Yes. You got two to sign there, Lonnie.
Is Tyler gonna come up for the closing services?
Yeah, 'cause I don't really, award bid, is that the one that goes to, SWPCO? Or do you know, Jackie? You don't have anything?
Tyler said he would be up. We'll take a short break here for those of you listening, and we will be back about 10 o'clock. All right, welcome back, everybody. Next item on our agenda is our 10 o'clock with Tony Bales, Full Armor Windows. And we're going to discuss the approval of the contract for the courthouse window replacements. Go ahead, Tony.
Well, first of all, I want to thank you guys for accepting the proposal. I'm just really here now to sign a contract with you. We're just requiring a third down payment from the final sell price just to secure the order. And after that, go ahead, Richard.
Well, on that, you'll have to send us some kind of a bill. It'll have to.
Okay, we'll invoice you on that. Okay.
That's
no problem.
Can you move the chair? Our next accounts payable is what, the 17th? Yeah, so if you have it to us here,
Yes.
Next week sometime or something, we
Okay.
can send it through our accounts payable and get you paid, okay?
You bet.
Okay.
That's no problem.
We pay bills every 2 weeks.
Okay, no, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, and after that, guys, we would just need a pre-installed measure. Our guys will come here and get the exact measures, get their material list, the scope of the entire job, so we're ready to go on game day. And I understand you guys have a timeline, obviously before homecoming.
We'd
It's
like.
something, yeah, and I don't think we're gonna have any problem meeting that at all, so. I'm shooting for the first weekend of September, so or the first week, I should say. Am I correct to say, is homecoming like the 18th or something like that? The weekend of the 18th?
I think.
I think I looked on the school calendar. I want to make sure I was on the
Well, that'd be the weekend of the 18th and 19th.
18th and 19th, okay.
Yeah.
I'm just saying,
If they're gonna have it, right?
that's about the time we play Harlan.
Yeah, is it Harlan this year?
I don't know.
Oh, Lord, that's so nuts. But no, that's what we'll need to do. Just to let you know, the payment, I'll get the ball rolling as soon as we get the measure. I'm obviously not letting any payment.
Well, we
hold
can
us
do a
up.
handwritten, whatever, just to stay square with you and, stay on good business.
Oh, we're good with that, Richard. No
And the
problem.
only other thing that could cause some problem is Wednesday afternoons, we have farmer's market on the west side here.
Okay,
I think, is it still going on that late or not?
I think till the end of September.
September 18th to 20.
Thomas Jefferson.
oh, okay.
Wow.
We haven't played them for,
We played them at the beginning of the year. Lonnie and I's boys have played them like the first game of the year a couple times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that was always, when I was in high school, that was our last game of the year.
Oh, was it?
AL or TJ, either one.
Yep.
Ugly.
And they were a lot bigger school at the time too than Glenwood, weren't they?
They're still bigger.
Quite a bit, yeah, they still are. But yeah, that's what we would do. And speaking of that pre-installed measure, you guys, hopefully this isn't too quick for you. There's a possibility I can get it done today. We're finishing up on a job just north of Glenwood here.
Bring 'em in.
Is
The only thing I ask is, you're telling us, we'll have you call the audit, have your men call our people,
I will call them, yeah,
call
Richard.
the auditor's office, say, hey, we're here to measure windows, they can come and let you in. They don't
Okay.
have to wear a mask and things, but
You do it all from the inside or outside or both?
Well, inside, I'm gonna have to talk to Colba. He's probably gonna have to look at least one of them on the outside, just to see, how the application is.
You need
but-
to call the auditor's office.
Okay, all right. And who am I speaking to? Because Carol's on vacation, is that right?
Call Lori, she's not doing anything.
She's the deputy.
Oh, Lori?
Yeah, Inglesby.
Okay, yeah, sure.
This is delayed, wait till she pops her nose out there.
Okay. Well, I will call to verify that. Again, I'm trying to get it done as quickly as I can too, but I can't push the guys on a job, obviously. And so, if not today, we normally do our measures on Fridays. So again, just call the auditors and coordinate that.
Yep.
Probably take them about a half an hour to 40 minutes, somewhere in there, okay?
Yep.
And after I get that, I will order. Again, I won't have to wait on a check or anything, but I'll get those orders so we can get the ball going.
It's gonna happen here in a minute.
And do you guys have any questions for me?
No.
I have a few for you,
Okay.
just to make sure that we're doing things the way you guys would like it done. Can I put a dumpster on site here? And if so, where at?
It'd have to be down here in the end of this drive. We
Okay.
have a small one there now, but we've had dumpsters there before.
And if you can't, Tony, you can put one behind my office. You have to haul it, but you
Oh.
can, you could stick one back there if you had to.
Okay,
It'd be
okay.
sitting on concrete.
All right, so if Tony has that dumpster, is that gonna cause any problems with the farmer's market? Can they put, I mean, they'll obviously put stuff in there.
No, I told them the other day, if they had anything, and if they wanted to, they could use the little dumpster we have. It's
okay.
cleaned, you know,
Okay,
they dump on Wednesday, they clean it on Friday, so
okay.
should be no problem. If they threw it on his stuff, you wouldn't know anyway.
Okay.
That's minimal.
Okay, well, I appreciate that, Lonnie.
We won't fill it up with
I
too many
just
trees
didn't
and
want a lot
stuff.
of radishes and whatever.
Oh, yeah, no, that's not a big deal.
Okay. I can't imagine it being a lot.
Yeah, no, that's not a big deal at all. And the other thing, guys, we're obviously gonna need an aerial lift that we'll be renting from down here at Evans, more than likely. I think he has something that'll suit us. If not, we'll be using Duke Rentals out of Council Bluffs, and they'll truck it down here for us. But out here, just so you guys know, when we're using that aerial lift, they're gonna have the big bubble tires, and we're not gonna be making any sharp turns, to cause the least amount of damage. But I just have to tell you, there probably will be a little bit, but we may have to, rake up, reseat or whatnot. But hopefully, guys, it's minimal. We'll try to go in and out and stay as far away as we can, just to use that aerial as well. But anything you guys require as far as safety cones out here and
You suit yourself.
Okay.
You're the contractor. You set yourself up.
okay. Well, we're pretty safety conscious, obviously, for reasons you don't want your guys injured. But I didn't know if there's anything that the city was requiring on that. I mean, we've done a few jobs around here, and we put up cones, and if people are paying attention, should be fine. And what we're doing, you guys, obviously, everything is fairly slow moving, comprised, there's
Okay,
not a lot of.
I just got, I guess now that you've kind of talked through some of this, for instance, you're gonna be replacing or putting a window in the daytime right there in the auditor's office.
Mhm.
As long as the girls clean everything off their shelves and stuff, kind of back away, you probably have some person inside, and then
Yes, yep.
you will be willing to work with them, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. Yeah, I was gonna get into that one too, Richard, is
Okay.
if, we can set up a schedule beforehand, I'll, after the guys do the measure and, 3 weeks beforehand, whatnot, all window colors. I mean, that would have to be, you got, like your brown, it's like a Tudor brown, it's not a rustic bronze brown. The sandstone, the gray on there is not the same as we got. It would actually kind of contrast. It took my wife to prove it to me. We came up to the building here and look, and then I took a picture of that. And so if you guys are okay with white, unless I think your only other option, you guys, would be sandstone, which was a darker gray to this concrete. So you guys tell me.
I go with white.
It's the same color or same price on the colors, but
Sandstone is just the real light brown.
no, sandstone is a gray.
Oh, it is
Which
a
would be
gray.
a darker gray than this building. It's not a sterling gray, it is more of a subtle gray, but, guys, I apologize, I should have brought those samples in here. Do you have that book that's here?
You know what, it must be in the car.
Oh, okay.
I know I had that, Tony.
Is there any thought about that, or did I just bring up something that didn't need to be brought up?
White sounds good to
Okay.
me.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. There is, I think there's a bigger picture in here. Yeah. Okay, guys, there is your sandstone here, okay? That's your sandstone. I even thought the beige is definitely out. It just, it didn't go with anything else on the building, but And we can go outside, you guys, and put a color swatch up if you want. I just want you guys to be happy, you know? Now, can I ask you this, though? Are we eventually, is this just phase
That's
one?
my next question. We're gonna have two sides done that are white and two sides that are
I
brown
look at it
right
this
now.
way, I mean, we'll look at doing this next year.
But if you look at these windows, Lonnie, you think, you know, they're an aluminum shiny, you know, but they've dulled enough that if you take a picture from the back here, these windows almost look like an off-white. They do. So I don't know. You guys tell me,
But if
it's not
you-
order time, but
But if you do that sandstone, that will make it look smaller.
probably, more than likely, yes. Every
So
time
is
you go with a
that-
darker color, it does bring it in a little, you're right.
So does that, with this building,
I'm sorry.
so with this kind of building, do we want to emphasize our windows, or? I think white would add kind of like a trim to a room.
And to your question, no, with a structure like this, I don't think you want to emphasize your windows. There's certain application in homes and whatnot that you do, but really to a structure this size, I don't think the key is to bring attention to those
To the
windows.
windows.
It's more to fit in, you know? Anybody have any? So, but it's not order day, so you guys can mull that around if you want.
So tell me of a place that we could look at that would have like a sandstone.
Yeah, I would
Okay,
have
so
to
the-
look, I would have to look.
So the
My files.
Masonic there at Plattsmouth?
Yep.
I would like to wait until the color, wait to decide on the color until you get the auditor in here to let her,
Okay,
ultimately, she's in charge of buildings and grounds.
gotcha. All right,
We make the decision to pay for it, she's in charge of the buildings and grounds.
easy enough. Yep. Okay.
She'll be back here next week, so you're not gonna get your check for a week anyway.
Okay, that works, and I can get you some color swatches that are a
There
little
you go.
bigger too, you know,
Yeah.
and we can
Something you can hold up against the
we can
building and
actually
look
go
at.
outside and, yeah, hold it up.
Yep.
But that is a structure to go look at. I
Right,
mean, just
we'll
to
do that.
see, you know, and they're vinyl as well, and it looks really nice.
Okay.
I may have some pictures on my phone
And
if you
they
guys wanna see
they
them,
have
but
white.
I don't wanna hold you guys
So
up there.
they have white.
They have white.
Okay.
Oh, I've talked to a few of the employees about the, computer tint. You know,
Yes, thanks, Richard.
They just think that's wonderful. Just
Okay.
Can't wait, you know,
That's already
Did you
on the
know
order,
that
but
the windows have a tint to them.
Oh,
So it
yes.
doesn't glare on the screen.
yes. If you guys just wanna look, here is the front of the Masonic Temple.
Oh, yeah.
You can slide, there's a couple more pictures there, which way. But those are white vinyl,
I would almost go with the same
And there's a
on
lo-
them, on that building.
well,
I mean, it really does stick out, doesn't it?
yeah, yeah, it does. I mean, it looks vibrant, new, so it's kind of up to you guys.
Okay.
But that's a good idea, Lonnie, I think we'll just
Wait till everyone's
all
here.
go outside and
Yeah.
get you guys,
You can still get all your measurements and everything.
yeah,
We'll be able to pick the color until we hit the go button.
right, yep, that's easy change.
Yep.
Yep.
Well, thank you, sir. Oh, now, do we have a motion to,
I'll make a
Moving
motion
forward.
to approve the agreement with, I guess I better find the right one. Oh, there it is.
How about,
Full armor.
there we go. And I second it?
we've got a motion and a second to approve the contract for the courthouse windows with full armor windows. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Alright. You probably want somebody to sign this, don't you, Tony?
That will work. Yeah, we're gonna need to sign that now. That's right. We'll just invoice you. So just sign just one signature right there, Lonnie, and date it. I don't need your date of birth, so, yep, right there in the buyer.
Well, I really appreciate it, Tony.
No, I appreciate it, guys. Thanks for giving me the opportunity. I know you guys had a lot of options, with a lot of, different companies. Thanks, Lonnie. Bigger companies too, if you will.
You do local, you do what we can do.
Well, I appreciate that, and Richard mentioned that when he first called me too, and I greatly appreciate that, and I don't think you guys will be sorry that you used us. We're very confident in this product and
Yep.
our installers, so I think it's,
Exciting.
yeah, so thanks so much.
Thanks, sir.
Yeah, appreciate it. And I apologize I didn't answer your text. I was on the phone
Yeah.
all the way up till I literally walked in the door.
No
But
biggie.
now I just saw you text me, so. But yeah, thanks again, guys. And what I'll do, next step is I'm gonna call Lori at the auditors today and see if we can get in, if it's gonna work for us. It's really how long this job's gonna take us this afternoon. Otherwise, other than that, we'll coordinate it coming up here soon.
Okay.
Yeah.
But rest assured, we'll have this project done.
Well, while
Before
they're here,
homecoming.
it'd be worth it if they could start in, so that would be great.
Yeah, it works out good for us, so.
Absolutely.
I don't ever want to put them in a position where they're hurrying or interfering with anybody here though either, so, I want them to take their time and, look in detail, so. Okay?
Okay.
All right,
Sounds great.
thanks again, guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
I'm gonna do a
Ready.
conference line here for,
Is this for,
Golden Hills, Kara Morgan.
The landowner Carter and Evans.
Please enter your access code followed by the pound or hash sign. To enable audio controls, please enter your audio PIN followed by the pound or hash sign.
Great job, Larry.
Well, Nick, you put together, Nada has seen this.
Okay.
She's out in my county, but Nick sent down to Nada for her to sign off. She made a couple changes to it and,
do you know we're calling?
just moved it up.
Yeah, Kara has the conference number and she's gonna call in, and I think one other person from Golden Hills. Is this the Golden Hills thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
She pick a time on it, or was it?
Carol told her about 10:30,
Okay.
so next few minutes.
I'm here.
Oh, hey Kara.
Grant was going to call in from Mappa, but he's had something come up and is not going to call in, so it's just me.
Okay. Well, are we ready to move forward then, Kara?
What?
Are we
Got
ready?
really staticky.
Are we ready to move forward?
Yes.
Okay. Is there anything you have to add to this? Our agenda item says approve and authorize chair to sign IWA agreements with Carter and Evans.
Not a whole lot that I have to add. These are two projects that are being put in. These are the first two that are ready to go out for bid. So as soon as those contracts are signed, they will go out for bid, and we're going to be ready to start construction hopefully before long.
Okay. Is that the second one there?
All the
Well, that one there is
paperwork
good.
is taken care of and cross the T's, dot the I's, huh,
Right there's
Kara?
one.
Yes,
Sign
yep,
this.
all permitting has been done.
Sign there.
IEDA has signed off on all of
I
this,
think all we gotta
Okay.
do now
and
is
this
date
is
it on it,
the
and then
final step before they go out to bid.
So this is
Okay,
Carter.
so that's David Carter, and
this
what's
is
the
just an
Evans?
extension of it.
They're both bank stabilizations. Evans owns land up further north on the niche, and it's also Rhonda Klein is involved in that particular one. So there's two landowners involved in that one. Rhonda has not yet signed her contract. We have a conference call with her right after this. So we're hoping that she signs her contract by the end of the week, and we can have it on the agenda for next week. But they're both bank stabilizations. They're fairly large projects.
Okay.
So we are approving both of them today?
Yes.
Okay. All right, guys, what do you think?
I'll make a motion Authorize the chair to sign the IWA agreement with the landowner Carter and Evans.
And I second it.
We've got a motion and a second to approve and authorize chair to sign IWA agreements with landowners Carter and Evans. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, Kara, I'm gonna sign these. Do you need anybody to email these
Perfect.
to you today, or
Do I what?
you need anybody to email these to you today, or do you?
Actually, you guys need to keep a copy. Grant will also need a copy for your master file. They're at MAPPA, and then I need a copy, but it doesn't have to be today, no.
Would it be all right for me to take a copy? I'm going to MAPPA tomorrow. Could I take a copy with me?
Yeah, that'd be perfect.
That's legal? I don't want to get in trouble.
No, that's legal. Yep.
Okay.
He just needs a copy for his master file.
All right.
Okay, Mr. Carter's. Make a few copies of those.
Yeah.
Keep one for us. I'll make an extra one of her.
Yeah, I'll need a copy before I leave today. I think just this one.
Just one copy.
Well, you'll need a copy.
And then,
Yeah, I'd make an
Golden
extra
Hills
spare.
needs a copy, and MAPPA. Okay.
Well, Kara, I hope I signed these everywhere. If not, I'm sure you'll let me know.
Yeah, we'll review them, make sure. The biggest thing is the approval to sign, so that's good. And if you guys had any questions or anything, that's kind of why I was here.
I don't know that I have any.
it's been a long time planning, hasn't it, Kara?
It has been,
Finally
but
started.
these are just the beginning. We've got quite a few more that are going to come across your desk, so I'm pretty excited that we're at this point.
Good.
Do you think we can have our September meeting in person?
I'd like to, but I don't know. Oakland, it's whether or not Oakland opens up their community building, or, if we have a big enough space for everybody.
Right.
Okay, I think that gets them. There's a check with that one, but not this one.
Okay.
It all goes in the same
Okay.
folder.
Alrighty, thank you, Kara.
Thanks, guys.
Take care. Have a good day.
Bye. You too. Bye.
I'll leave all your signs on the outside.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is to award bid for closing services on buyout properties. Mr. Lunger.
All right, so, did you hear back from Terry?
He said we can call him if you have questions, but yeah, Terry said that, what happened was you want to discuss, we got one bid.
Yeah, so we put out the RFP for closing services for all the buyouts. We received one bid from Clear Title and Abstract. I think you all have seen that. Obviously, we've been through this before. When we only receive one bid, it causes a problem that FEMA might reject it because we didn't do a competitive bidding process. I got in touch with Mark Reynolds, who's the president of Clear Title, and asked them to update their bid based on me doing the legal services versus their firm that they typically use. So I have an email with an updated cost on that. Ends up cutting out about $22,000 off of what their initial bid was. So that's down to $58,240, assuming 64 closings, which again is not.
Right.
We're not going to be at 64, but $58,240.
That's based on 64.
Based on 64 closings.
It
And
was
so right
85.
now, I think we're right around 60, if I remember right.
Wow, we started at 72, didn't we? So we're
Yep, and I
dwindling.
just yesterday got another opt-out
Really?
form in, so.
That's good.
Yeah, people are starting to realize that, it's not a bad thing to just redo their house and stay where they're at. So the question then was, what do we do to prove that this is a reasonable bid, to be able to select it and move forward without FEMA giving us crap? In Fremont County, we got a bid from Clear Title, which matches apples to apples with this cost structure, but they also got several more tailored towards legal services, the stuff that I would be doing, because Hamburg doesn't have an attorney to do their legal services. So one of those firms actually had in there the fact that they could do closing service also, and a bid structure for that, and it was significantly more than Clear Title had. So Alexis asked Terry, can we just basically consider that that would be also a reasonable bid and that this is significantly cheaper, and move forward with that? And I don't know that I saw a response from Terry, but
No, I called him about 30 minutes ago. He'd been in a meeting, just got out, because I know that Tyler tried to make contact with him. And he is fully aware of this. He'd seen what Alexis from Swipco had done and come to a I don't know, basically from a cost analysis piece, and also for making a good faith effort.
yeah, because she actually called out to several other entities trying to get another bid.
Yes, sure.
And nobody wanted to bid
Nobody
it,
wanted
so.
to do it.
So I think if we ensure Swipco documents all that narrative.
And they have, yeah.
In a memo for record type thing, that's the due process, then that would allow the state to, petition FEMA. This was just cause, and we went through the due process here, and this is what we have, and we need to move forward. And so, and it's reasonable. And so that's kind of what Terry, and Terry said I could get him on the phone if he has questions for him. He's going to be around the office for a bit, but otherwise, that's kind of what he said.
So Clear Title's bid, when you dig through it, they offer 3 different types of closing services. We had a conference call with Terry and Alexis just to determine, is there one specific method that's required by the state or FEMA, and they basically said, no, it's up to us to choose. So I basically selected, it's called an ITG closing, which it does has some title guarantee in it, but it doesn't go the full route of having full title insurance on it. And since I'm going to be doing the abstract reviews and the abstract opinions, I feel like that's the most cost effective for us to do, and it seems like the most straightforward process. So that amount again is $58,240 for 64 closings. So that would be the cap.
And you say right now we're down to possibly 60.
Right.
I think so.
You think
yeah,
a few more is
probably
gonna
60,
cut out.
61.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. Okay.
Somebody want to make a
Well, I
motion?
definitely make a motion for, how do I want to say this?
Award the bid for closing services?
Sounds good. For the closing title abstract.
Approved bid for, it's kind of like what it's,
Approve the bid for closing services.
So it'd be this company.
For
Yeah,
clear,
I was trying to think
clear
of the
title and
company.
abstract, yeah.
second.
It's called Clear Title Abstract.
We've got a motion and a second to award the bid for closing services on the buyout properties to Clear Title. Is there any discussion on that?
Who are they from?
Council Bluffs.
Council Bluffs, Omaha. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, work with them all the time.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, they do.
All
a
the
nice
time,
job.
yeah. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And then can we make a note to get that on the agenda for next week to sign the contract with them? I'll work on getting that done. And ready for you guys to look at.
The other thing is, we've got several bids in on the asbestos piece. And so we're looking next week to have a conference call possibly with SWPCO and County Attorney's Office to go over those submittals and kind of grade them. And so we're hoping to get that moving down the road. And when I talked to Tyler yesterday, I'm concerned about is, you get this.
You get several bids for that?
I think
Like
there's a couple-
six or
Wow.
7, yeah, quite a few.
So,
I'd like to be involved in that if I could.
Yeah,
Some of
absolutely.
those guys I've dealt with, some of them
No,
I
that'd be
haven't,
great.
so.
And it's hard, the SWPCO tried to kind of put it on a cost analysis spreadsheet, but some of the bids are not comparable, you know,
make them so you can grade them.
there's
Yeah.
different cost structures in there, so
Yeah.
yeah, it'd be good to have some expertise on,
Yeah, I wouldn't call it expertise, but I've
well,
dealt
but
with it a
at
little
least
bit before.
experience with, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the other thing is, brings to bear is, you know, you have this, what she sent us is really for the, it's not for the actual, removal, this is the
It's just, yeah, that's
inspection.
right, yeah.
And see, and the problem is, this is a tiered thing, the inspection, and then, and the minute we start closing, 90
You
days
gotta go.
start,
Yeah.
and the abatement and
Right.
demo has got to be, so we need to get with SWPCO and
And I
They-
talked with Alexis.
they've got to get those
um,
RFPs.
I think last Thursday about, we talked about that we need the demolition and the asbestos removal sent out
It'd be
pretty
nice if you
quickly.
get them all, what, if you get one company that could do
I think
more
we'll
than
get
one, that way
several
you can-
bids from a single
Yeah, we'll
company
take a
offering
You can move
to.
it through.
Yeah, yep.
Cause you don't wanna have him do the inspection, and then you do the removal, and then you do the demolition, and then
And
you do the.
yeah, several of the contractors
Way too many
have
'Cause
voiced
it isn't-
concern
moving
about
parts.
that.
Isn't it still 90 days?
Yeah,
Well, that's
yeah,
So
the
you've gotta
time-
be-
yeah, the
okay.
time stays.
That's from closing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so the biggest thing, concern there was between the inspection and the abatement was that the conflict of possible interest between the inspection and abatement. You see, would
What are
that
they gonna do, take all this stuff to landfill?
Yeah, I
Well, I'm
think,
sure.
I think the landfill can take some of that. It just depends on how it's delivered to them.
Yeah, it's,
And
there's a
process
certain
the
method
bag.
that they have to process it, yeah.
With it having asphalt in it.
That's
Do
what
we
it's
need
just-
to, do
For
we need to
asbestos.
have them come in?
To
Do they
me,
need- do
if
they
they,
need-
if
do
they're
they-
awarded, if they're awarded a contract, then they should
That's up to
stipulate,
them, yeah.
as far as
I
their
mean,
It's their deal.
proposal.
It's,
they should
it's gonna be in our
stipulate-
contract that they have to abate it and dispose of it in a manner that's environmentally.
Right.
Okay, well, I'm just trying to cover bases.
They
so
can
we-
track it to Colorado,
Right, yeah.
cheaper than they can put it here, then let them do it,
Yep.
as long as they document it.
Right.
Odds are that's not gonna
Well, yeah,
happen,
I
but.
would think that we'll probably get several bids that are for abatement and demolition together.
Yeah.
Which would be beneficial. But the other thing to consider is if we do, then do we pick multiple contractors? Because I would like to get these closings done as soon as we can, and I'm sure the general
Awesome.
public would too. Can we,
Mhm.
knowing that they've got 90 days, do we get 2 and send them out?
Yep,
So,
keep it moving. Thank you, guys.
yep.
Tyler, they're gonna come through and remeasure the windows properly. Probably, he talked like this afternoon.
So expect somebody in my window.
He might.
He might.
Might be peeking in
That
on you.
scares the heck out of me.
No, he'll be coming in your office.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
You'll see him
okay.
from the inside and the
Okay,
outside,
okay.
so.
Better than the cat you had there last.
It's true, yeah, we did have a cat in there. That's great.
What's the name of that? What's the
Get
name
it
of that
out or did
seal
it jump
stuff?
out?
Michael got it out, yeah.
What's the name of that miracle seal stuff?
Well, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, everybody
Yeah,
listening.
I think save money and just buy a bunch of flex seal, we just flex seal.
We'll see you all next week.
I'm a huge flex seal.
Hey,